Welcome to This Day in His Story, created by American Heritage Worldwide. A reminder that every day holds something new to learn. Did you know that a recipe for French fried potatoes first appeared in an English cookbook in 1856? Learn how Thomas Jefferson served French-style potatoes at the White House over 200 years ago. Discover many of the origin stories about French fries from 1537, when potatoes were first introduced to Europe by the Spanish, and ultimately American soldiers eating them in Belgium during World War I, to today, when McDonald's sells about 9 million pounds of French fries around the world every day. So imagine you're just sitting down with a fast food burger, and a side of fries. You probably aren't really thinking about the geopolitical history sitting right there in that little cardboard carton.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, most people don't.
Right, but that side dish is secretly this incredible weapon of diplomacy, a survivor of an 18th century medical panic, and the result of a massive global linguistic mistake. Today's deep dive is going to trace the French fry from an isolated 16th century Colombian village all the way to a highly engineered 9 million pound a day modern empire.
It is quite the journey, yeah.
I mean, think of the French fry as like the ultimate Hollywood character actor. It's always cast as the sidekick, never the main star, but secretly it's the one holding the entire cinematic universe together.
That is a great way to look at it. Because to understand how this side dish conquered the world, we first really have to examine the intense historical friction surrounding its raw ingredient.
The potato, right?
Exactly, the potato. Before potatoes could be sliced and fried and salted and served to you in a drive-thru, they had to actually be accepted as food. And for a long time in Europe, they absolutely were not.
Well, the potato isn't native to Europe, right? So we're starting in the Americas. Take us back to that initial point of contact.
Sure, so the year is 1537. A Spanish expedition led by Jimenez de Quesada arrives in this high-altitude Colombian village in the Andes. They were looking for gold, of course, but instead, they discovered this strange underground crop that the local indigenous populations totally rely on.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and the Spanish, they didn't even have a word for a tuber. When they pulled these weird lumps directly out of the dirt, they categorized them using the closest European reference point they could think of, which was truffles.
Wait, calling a potato a truffle feels like a massive stretch. I mean, I guess when you encounter a completely foreign object, your brain just scrambles to map it onto something familiar, right?
It does, yeah. And that cognitive mapping was actually crucial for bringing them back across the Atlantic. About 20 years later, these so-called truffles were introduced into Spain, then Italy, and they slowly began spreading across Europe.
Okay, but you mentioned they weren't accepted as food.
Right. The reception was incredibly hostile, particularly in France. The French viewed potatoes as entirely unfit for human consumption. They relegated them strictly to hog feed.
Just pig food. That's wild.
Yeah. But the resistance wasn't just about class or taste. There was a genuine, widespread medical belief that eating potatoes actually caused leprosy.
Wait, leprosy. How does an entire nation look at a vegetable and conclude it causes a flesh-decaying disease? There has to be some sort of twisted logic behind that, right?
There was, yeah. The logic was rooted in a very old medical philosophy called the doctrine of signatures.
The doctrine of signatures, what is that?
It was this belief that herbs and plants physically resembled the body parts they could heal or the diseases they could cause. So think about a potato freshly pulled from the ground.
Right, it's all lumpy and weird.
Exactly. It has this rough, warty, uneven skin with deep eyes and blemishes. So to an 18th century French doctor, the aesthetic of the potato directly mimicked the physical deformities of leprosy.
Oh my God.
Because it looked like the disease, they just assumed it transmitted the disease.
So they were basically using like sympathetic magic to make medical decrees. That is insane. So if the French were that terrified of it, what on earth shifted the paradigm? I mean, you don't just naturally transition from saying this tuber will cause your limbs to fall off to, hey, let's deep fry it and eat it by the handful.
Right, you really don't. And that massive paradigm shift rests almost entirely on the shoulders of one guy, Antoine-Augustin Parmentier.
Okay, who was he?
He was a French Army medical officer during the 7 Years' War in the mid-1700s, and during the conflict, he was actually captured and held in a Prussian prison. Yeah, and the Prussians had already embraced the potato as a way to avoid starvation during wartime blockades. So as a prisoner of war, Parmentier had no choice in his rations. He was forced to subsist almost entirely on potatoes.
Wait, here's where I'm confused. If his home country firmly believes this food causes leprosy, wouldn't Parmentier have been absolutely terrified to eat it?
Initially, yeah. The prospect of eating them would have been incredibly daunting.
And more importantly, wouldn't he have been treated like a walking biohazard when he finally went back to France?
You would think so. But as months turned into years, Parmentier observed his own body. He didn't develop leprosy. He didn't waste away. He actually maintained his...
Because they're super nutritious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He realized this hog feed was an incredibly resilient, nutrient-dense survival mechanism. So when he was released and returned to France, he didn't return as a biohazard. He returned as living proof that the medical establishment was completely wrong.
Okay, so he becomes the potato's biggest fan.
Yeah, he made it his life's mission to rebrand the potato.
How do you even rebrand a vegetable that people are clinically terrified of?
You use reverse psychology, basically. Parmentier really understood human nature. He knew that if he simply told the French peasants to eat potatoes, they would just refuse.
Because of the, whole leprosy thing.
Right, so he secured a plot of land near Paris, planted a massive crop of potatoes, and hired heavily armed guards to patrol the perimeter during the day.
Oh, I see where this is going. If you guard something with guns, people instantly assume it's immensely valuable.
It's the scarcity principle in action. And here's the genius part. Parmentier specifically instructed his guards to leave their posts at night.
No way.
Yes. So the local peasants, who were now completely convinced that this crop must be a luxury item meant only for the nobility, snuck in under the cover of darkness and stole the potatoes.
He literally tricked the French public into cultivating and eating them. That is brilliant.
It really was. He also hosted these lavish dinners for the elite, serving multiple courses made entirely of potatoes. He even got Benjamin Franklin, who was an ambassador at the time, to attend one of these dinners.
That is a masterclass in marketing right there. He manufactures exclusivity, and suddenly everyone wants a bite.
And the strategy worked flawlessly. By 1772, the Paris Faculty of Medicine completely reversed its stance. They officially proclaimed the potato as healthy and edible.
Wow, just a total 180.
Yeah, and once that institutional fear evaporated, the culinary innovation just exploded. Shortly after that medical decree, pushcart vendors started appearing on the streets of Paris, selling fried potatoes that they called frites.
Which brings us to the actual architecture of the fry, right? So the vendors are selling them in Paris, but the shape we all recognize today, that specific, long, thin, rectangular cut, that doesn't actually originate with those French pushcarts, does it?
No, it actually doesn't. The distinct geometry of the fry traces back to a really fascinating survival adaptation in the Meuse Valley of Belgium.
Belgium. Okay, so how did they come up with it?
Well, traditionally, the villagers in this region relied heavily on fishing in the local rivers. Their diet consisted largely of catching small fry, like tiny fish, and frying them up.
Right, a fish fry.
Exactly. But during particularly brutal winters, the rivers would freeze completely solid.
And if you can't break the ice, your primary calorie source is just completely cut off.
Exactly. So without the fish, they turned to the root cellar. But they didn't just roast or boil the potatoes. To mimic the physical and psychological experience of the meal they were missing, they meticulously sliced the potatoes into long, thin strips.
Roughly the size and shape of those tiny fish.
Yes, and then they fried them in fat.
So the next time you're holding a French fry, you're actually holding a structural stand-in for a fish. It's like a culinary ghost.
That is a really poetic way to put it.
But this raises a massive geographic question for me. If this ingenious adaptation happened in Belgium, how did the entire planet end up calling them French fries?
Well, the nomenclature is a result of a massive linguistic collision. And it was heavily cemented during World War I.
Really? World War I?
Yeah. So when American soldiers were deployed to the Belgian front, the local villagers shared this beloved comfort food with them. Now, the Belgian army's official language of command at that time was French.
Oh, I see.
Right. The American soldiers are hearing French spoken all around them while eating this snack, so they just simply slap the label French fries onto it.
Completely erasing the Belgian origin in the minds of the American public.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, I love the idea of a soldier just assigning a nationality based on ambient noise. But it wasn't purely the American military that invented the phrase, right?
Right.
I know there is a broader historical breadcrumb trail.
Oh, definitely. The American soldiers certainly popularized it, but the terminology was already brewing in the English-speaking world long before that.
Okay, where else did it pop up?
If we look at the historical record, The earliest known written appearance of the term French fried potatoes is actually found in an 1856 English cookbook by a woman named Eliza Warren. Yeah, the book was titled Cookery for Maids of All Work. And going back even further than that, in 1802, Thomas Jefferson actually requested that his White House chef serve potatoes, served in the French manner, at a dinner party.
So it's like this bizarre historical convergence. You have Belgian winter survivalists inventing the shape, then Thomas Jefferson and an English cookbook author playing around with the terminology.
Yep.
And then finally, World War I soldiers just lock it in as a permanent global mistake.
And that mistake definitely stuck.
Yes.
But, as we move from the artisan origins of the fry to its modern ubiquity, we really have to examine the biological risks of a society falling too deeply in love with this single calorie source.
Because the potato is incredibly efficient to grow, but that efficiency breeds reliance.
Exactly.
Right, because if a food is cheap, dense in nutrients, and easy to cultivate, a population will naturally start relying on it to the complete exclusion of other crops.
And the most devastating consequence of this exact reliance played out in Ireland in the 1840s.
The potato famine.
Yes. The Irish agricultural system had become almost entirely dependent on a single variety of potato, known as the lumper.
Okay, just one variety.
Just one. And this creates a severe biological vulnerability due to how potatoes are grown. You see, you don't plant a potato seed, which would create genetic diversity. You plant a piece of an existing potato.
Right, the eyes.
Yes, meaning the new crop is a genetic clone of the old one.
So it's basically a massive monoculture. If every single plant in the country has the exact same DNA, they all have the exact same weaknesses.
Think of it like a global computer network where every single machine runs the exact same operating system.
With absolutely no variations and no separate firewalls.
Exactly. If a hacker writes a virus that can breach one computer, it instantly breaches all of them. In the 1840s, that virus was a specific fungus called Phytophthora infestans.
Also known as late blight, right?
Yes, late blight. And when it hit, it didn't just destroy some of the crop. It wiped out the entire food supply almost overnight because there was zero genetic resistance. The resulting famine was completely catastrophic. It led to mass starvation and immense waves of emigration.
It's a terrifying realization, honestly. The exact same resilience that saved Parmentier in a Prussian prison cell became the mechanism that starved a nation, simply because of how it was deployed.
It is a very dark chapter. We learned a harsh lesson about supply chains and agricultural diversity from that era. Modern industrial food systems are built to mitigate that exact kind of fragility.
Which brings us to the mind-bending scale of the modern fry.
It really does. And to grasp that scale, we have to look to 1940 in San Bernardino, California.
The birthplace of McDonald's.
Exactly.
It's fascinating that their original menu wasn't this massive, sprawling thing like it is today. The sources state it was incredibly focused. It was just hamburgers, sodas, milkshakes, and French fries.
Very simple.
And from that single location, they now sell an astronomical 9 million pounds of French fries globally, every single day. I mean, it's hard to even wrap my head around 9 million pounds a day.
It's staggering. To process and distribute 9 million pounds every 24 hours requires a logistical mastery that honestly borders on obsession.
I believe it.
The fry you get at a modern fast food chain is no longer just a sliced vegetable. It is a highly engineered product. McDonald's, for example, relies heavily on specific potato varieties, primarily the russet Burbank.
Okay, why that one? What makes the russet Burbank so chemically special for frying? Why not just use whatever potato is cheapest on the market that week?
It comes down to the specific ratio of starch to sugar in the potato. If a potato has too much natural sugar, that sugar will actually caramelize and burn the second it hits the boiling oil.
Oh, leaving you with a fry that's dark brown and bitter.
Exactly. You don't want that. The russet Burbank has a high starch content and very low sugar, which is absolutely critical for achieving a crispy exterior without burning.
Made sense.
But fast food chains don't even leave that to chance. Before the potatoes are fried, they go through a very precise blanching process in hot water.
Is the blanching just to, pre-cook them so they fry faster at the restaurant?
Partially, yes. But its primary function is chemical extraction. Blanching extracts excess surface sugars.
Oh, interesting.
And after the natural sugars are removed, the potato strips are often coated with a microscopic, perfectly uniform layer of dextrose.
Wait, dextrose, that's a simple sugar, right?
Yes. They remove the natural sugar and add a controlled amount of simple sugar. This guarantees that when they are dropped into the fryer, whether you are in Tokyo or Paris or Ohio, Every single fry achieves the exact same golden brown color.
That is wild. They literally erase the potato's natural chemical signature and just paint a new one on so it looks identical globally.
That is exactly what they do. And from there, they are flash frozen. But even the freezing process is highly engineered.
How so?
It creates specific ice crystal structures inside the potato. When those crystals rapidly melt and turn to steam in the deep fryer, it fluffs up the interior starch.
Oh, so that creates that signature contrast, right? Crispy on the outside, but fluffy like a big potato on the inside.
Precisely.
So a 9 million pound daily supply chain isn't just about moving heavy boxes on trucks. It's about maintaining absolute chemical and thermal control over a vegetable from the moment it leaves the dirt to the moment it hits the fryer.
It is industrial precision applied to a root vegetable. But, for all that staggering commerce and scientific engineering, the fundamental power of the fry really remains rooted in human psychology and community.
It's true. I mean, no matter how industrialized the supply chain gets, sitting down and eating a carton of fries is just a deeply intimate shared experience.
It really is. And the historical notes highlight a powerful vignette from 1847 that captures this perfectly, I think.
No, the Wilford Woodruff story?
Yes. In July of that year, a pioneer named Wilford Woodruff was riding into the foothills overlooking the Salt Lake Valley. And as his group arrived, they encountered a Ute native.
Okay.
Now, in a moment that could very easily have tilted into conflict, both sides actually chose diplomacy.
But how does the potato factor into an 1847 diplomatic meeting?
Well, the local natives signaled that they wanted peace and commerce with the new arrivals. To solidify that trust, they engaged in trade.
Okay.
And quoted directly in Woodruff's journal is the fact that potatoes were among the specific goods exchanged to broker that peace.
Wow. I mean, sharing a high-value, calorie-dense food is the ultimate olive branch. Think about the psychology of it. When you share a basket of fries with someone today, you are inherently establishing a baseline of trust.
Absolutely.
You're literally reaching into the exact same bowl, dropping your guard. It's a modern version of breaking bread, only you're breaking spuds.
I love that.
Yeah.
Shared dining definitely breaks down defensive barriers. And when you center that around a food that is universally comforting, it fosters real camaraderie.
Definitely.
And modern culinary culture has completely recognized this, expanding the experience to cater to every conceivable preference. We have moved so far beyond the standard shoestring cut.
Oh, we've practically built an entire architectural discipline around cutting them.
Right.
I mean, you have waffle fries, which are structurally designed to hold maximum dip. You have curly fries, wedges, crinkle cut.
So many options. And the dips themselves serve as regional identifiers, too.
That's a good point.
While standard ketchup is ubiquitous, you see deep regional loyalties. Like in certain parts of the American West, fry sauce, which is a specific blend of ketchup, mayonnaise, and spices, is just mandatory.
Oh, yeah. You cannot have fries without fry sauce out there.
Right. And in the UK and parts of Canada, malt vinegar provides this sharp, acidic contrast to the fat.
So good.
Or you see them entirely smothered, like a poutine, or drowned in rich, heavy nacho cheese. The fry just acts as a neutral canvas that communities paint their own cultural flavors onto.
It's basically the world's most versatile edible spoon, and we love it so much that we have literally codified it into the calendar. National French Fry Day is a massive commercial event.
It is. And the sheer marketing strategy behind National French Fry Day is brilliant. Just recently, the National Day Calendar Organization made a highly calculated move.
What did they do?
They officially shifted the holiday so that it always falls on the second Friday in July.
Ah, so it permanently lands on Friday.
Exactly.
The pun is agonizing, honestly, but from a business perspective, it's genius.
It anchors the holiday right at the start of the weekend. The entire fast food and restaurant industry capitalizes on this, offering reduced prices or giving them away completely for free.
It guarantees massive foot traffic and social media engagement.
Exactly. We dedicate an entire summer weekend to celebrating a food that, 2.5 centuries ago, the French wouldn't even feed to their prisoners without fear of disease.
Talk about the ultimate historical glow-up. It's incredible to step back and look at the whole picture.
It really is. When you synthesize the journey we've mapped out today, the scope is profound. The next time you grab a hot fry out of a paper bag, realize you are participating in a massive legacy.
You are eating the descendant of a mysterious Andean truffle.
Yes. You are tasting the legacy of a French POW who used armed guards to trick peasants. You are holding the physical replica of a tiny Belgian fish.
Enjoying a culinary ghost named by confused American troops.
heavily engineered by modern food science, and ultimately designed to bring people together.
It guarantees you will never look at a fast food menu the exact same way again. It isn't just a sidekick to the burger. It's a survivor, a linguistic accident, and a masterpiece of chemistry.
Well said.
And it leaves me with one final thought for you to chew on after we sign off today. If the humble potato was once genuinely feared as a cause of leprosy and is now the ultimate beloved global comfort food, what weird, totally misunderstood ingredient that we reject today might become the unstoppable global fast food staple of the year 2300? Thank you for joining us for this day in his story. May the lessons of yesterday inspire you to see God's hand today and to play your part in his story now. For more faith-based learning, visit ahsworldwide.org, the homeschool for faith and family.